Hi, third grade. Welcome back to Reading Workshop. Um, we are working in our unit, Building a Reading Life, right? And this is number 2 for this unit. We're going to focus on how we can make our reading the best it can be. And in order to do that, we're going to try out some things that'll help make our reading the best reading it could be. So let's review. In reading workshop last week, we focused on reading our books as if they are gold, right? We checked in on how to read our books. We said no curmudgeon reading. We don't do that, right? Curmudgeon reading is boring. Okay, so now you are ready to take off growing as a super reader that you are. You have set up good routines. You have your place at home where you read. You have maybe a lamp in your reading spot. Also, make sure that you have your stack of books next to you ready anytime it's time to do your independent reading. That way, you don't waste time going to find books and look for books every single time. Book shopping day is a book shopping day, but try to have your books with you, and I think a lot of you did a good job with that last time we worked on reading. So thumbs up to you for doing those things to make sure you are reading more and more. Clap for you. Your third grade teachers and I are very, very proud of you for carrying out your reading routines. Good job. So today we're going to learn that researchers have actually found out that if a person wants to get really good at something, that person needs to set clear goals and keep track of his or her progress toward that goal. Okay, so we're going to set goals today. Okay, quick chat with someone next to you. It could be a classmate, friend, family member, or the teacher, a stuffed animal, anything you would like to speak with briefly. So take a look at your reading log. Are you reading more than ever? If not, what might you do to change that? Just take a minute to think about that. What might you do to change that? And let's talk about it. So, talk with someone about it. Good. All right. So, what we're going to learn today, and we're going to help you out with that. Your teachers are going to help you learn how you can change that and make your reading longer and longer and read more and more. So, we are learning to set clear goals and keep track of our progress toward those goals. And what your teachers are looking for is for students to use their reading logs to reflect on their reading habits and progress so far to create clear goals for themselves, right? So that's really how far have you progressed, and then make a goal so you can grow even more. I'll fix that. All right, this video is going to be in this slide, but this is the goal that we're working on. We're studying our reading patterns and we're going to set new goals. This is the chart that we've been working on, right? We've learned these things, we've practiced these things, and we're adding on this one for today, studying our reading patterns or habits to set new goals. We already do these things, but this is something you can refer to. And I'm also going to attach it to this the folder so that you can just look at it anytime you forget, like, oh, what do I do first when it's time to read? So now we're going to chat again. We're going to take a closer look at those reading logs, and we're going to look at your patterns, and then we're just going to talk about what we noticed. So take a minute now, look at your reading log. It could be the paper one or the virtual one, so you could pause the video. Go look at your reading log that is from last week or 2 weeks ago. Any one of those reading logs that you filled out already, an old one. And just look over your patterns, the minutes read, how many pages you read in those minutes. So something you might say is, oh, I see I'm reading 1 or 2 pages during my reading time one day, and then I read tons of pages on another day when I read for a longer time. So that's you noticing a trend or a pattern or a habit that you have. When you read longer, you read more pages. You're able to actually do more. But when your time is cut short, you don't really get a good amount of reading time in. So take a minute now and have that type of discussion with yourself or classmate, friend, family member, and just chat about that. Okay. Welcome back. So you looked at your reading log. You probably noticed the books you read, how many pages you read, the time it takes you to read those pages. And now thinking about maybe a goal that you could set or just something you want to try out. So I'll show you how I'm going to think about that and how I'm going to set that goal. Here's my reading log, right? So now, August 28th, I read this book, and these are adult books, by the way. And so I read 19 pages in 28 minutes. Okay, not bad. Um, yeah, not bad. Okay. The next day, I read another book and I read about 19 pages again, right? Not quite 20 pages, but then again, I only read 28 minutes. So that 19 minutes seems like that's my reading habit. 19 pages, sorry. Seems like that's my reading habit. And 28 minutes, I get 19 pages in. So that's like my rate of reading. Okay, so I'm noticing that's my habit. When I read 28 minutes, I only get 19 pages in. All right, then I read Newsweek. I only read 2 pages, but I only read for 13 minutes. That's not a long time at all. I should be reading for at least 30 to an hour. Okay, let's look at this book, Steve Jobs. Oh, wow. I read for half an hour. I read 23 pages. Wow. That's the most pages I've ever read, and that's 30 minutes. So that's my habit that works well for me. Maybe that should be my goal. The next time I read, I only read 21, around 21 pages, 22 pages. Okay, but I also only read for 25 minutes. So that 30 minutes seems like the best amount of reading gets done for me. So now I'm thinking about my habit and I'm thinking about my goal. So I can try to read for 30 minutes, right? I notice that when I don't read for 30 minutes, I don't get a lot of pages read. I don't get a lot of reading in. So what can I do to improve that? My goal is going to be I'm going to settle down and read for a solid 30 minutes or more, uninterrupted. I'm going to try not to check my phone. I'm going to try not to check things around me. I'm going to try not to leave my reading spot. I'm going to sit and really get deep into my book and reading it. Maybe I'll read for an hour. Okay, so do you see what I did there, readers? I looked at my patterns and my habits. I thought about what worked really well. And then I'm going to focus on trying that every time because I remember when I read that book, I was in a quiet spot. I didn't get away from my reading that book. I was staying focused on it. And that's what works well for me. So I have to be uninterrupted. I have to really settle down in my spot. And I have to read for those 30 minutes. That's what works well for me. And then I can read more and more. Maybe next time I can read for an hour. Maybe you can try 35 minutes. But over time, this is how you should be thinking about looking at your reading log and setting a goal. So now really quick, you've looked and studied your reading logs. What new goal can you make for yourself? So take a few minutes to talk with someone, or you could discuss it with yourself too, like thinking out loud. What new goal can you make for yourself? So you could pause the video, you can go back to your reading log, look for those habits you have, and come back here and continue playing the video. Good. Welcome back. Okay. So I'm sure you found that you read maybe 5 pages because you only read for 10 or 15 minutes. But when you read for 30 minutes one of those days, you probably read like 20 pages or more, right? So, readers, remember, don't ever forget this. This year, you're going to be reading a ton. You're going to read a lot this year, right? Third grade is when we just read. We get into those chapter books by the end of the year, and you're going to be reading away. But in order to build those good habits and to set good goals for yourself, you have to reflect. So you're going to look at your reading log sometimes and you're going to see some habits that you might need to fix up. Here are some strategies. You're going to self-reflect about your reading behaviors and your habits. And then you're going to make goals that will progress so that you'll be able to progress toward with success. Okay? Self-reflect on your reading behaviors and your habits. And then make a goal so that you can do better. To be the best reader, right? Because you're all super readers. To be the best reader, readers find that good reading spot. They talk about books. They love the books they're reading. They read books as if they're gold. They check that books are just within the right reach, that just right book. And they study their reading patterns and set new goals. So here's a little tip, something you can try. Here's a tool you can use. Readers sometimes use Post-its to set their goals. So like I did with my book, I labeled where I want to start and I put that I want to read the 23 pages, maybe 25 pages. So this time I blocked off in my book that I'm going to start here. And then I went 25 pages because I want to set that new goal for myself. And I'm going to end after 25 pages. So I marked that so I know my goal is to reach that end mark. And my Post-it is telling me where I'm going to start and where I'm going to end. This is something you can try. It'll help you with your new goal as we're trying to read longer and longer, more and more. So readers, you are aiming to do that, right? We want to get stronger. We want to become the fastest, strongest reader who reads forever. So you're going to read with your eyes. Don't try not to use your finger too much. In third grade, we get away from that a little bit. So if you're reading with your finger, you could try it without. If you need your finger, use it. But we try to get away from using the finger because it can be distracting sometimes. And then a bookmark can also be distracting. We're playing with the bookmark or we put it in the page and we're like rubbing it against the page, using it to keep words. So if you need it, of course, use it. But if you don't really need it and you just put it there just because, try not to have your finger or your bookmark there, right? Because we're aiming to read longer and stronger. And don't keep looking back in that book. You'll lose your place. You can look back, but don't do it over and over and over again. Read with expression like it's gold, right? Remember, no curmudgeon, just like it's gold. Here's a little bookmark. It's also available on the last slide. And these are reminding you of what you can do as you're reading your book. Okay, so this is your reading workshop time. You're going to go look over your reading logs. This is what you're going to do right now. You're going to write your new reading goal. There's a Google Doc set up and attached to this called Challenge Yourself as You Read Tonight. And if you need to submit a photo, you can do that as well to answer the question there. You're just writing your new reading goal. Then you're going to read, right? And while you're reading this time, try out that new habit and then keep practicing that habit every time you read to reach your new goal. Of course, log your reading on your reading log. And then after you're all done, pat yourself on the back for trying out your new habits and reaching your new goal. And you can do this. You are readers. So this will work for you, third grade. We look forward to reading your goals that you set up for yourself after looking at your old reading logs from maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. All right. And here's the bookmark just in case you want to print it out. All right, third grade. Until next time, take care.